Members of the Iowa National Guard have left for a mission to the U.S.-Mexico border. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds announced last week that a group of 110 people would be deployed as a part of Operation Lone Star. The deployment for most of them will end on May 3rd. 5 members will stay until September 30th, however. All costs are being covered using federal funding from the American Rescue Plan.